Recording in progress. Hello and welcome to today's random podcast. You're here with me, Benji, the Flea. I don't know why I'm calling myself the Flea. Maybe it's got something to do with the old radio station used to be. And now alongside me, I've got the one and only Tobin Tobias. So which one? one of the three.
Whichever one you would like. Usually Toby though.
I don't know because me saying that Tobin Tobias kind of sounds like that's your full name right there. We
Yeah,
should.
well, my first name is a last name, so
I mean, like, it's not like as bad as Elton John. So, like, having your first name as your last name.
that's true. That's true.
Yes.
Well,
So
maybe Tobes. People usually call me Tobes, so
I
seems to be
generally,
the
I do generally call you the Tobe. So I mean, like, I
there you
like
go.
that. Yeah. We'll just call you the
That
Tobe.
works.
So that maybe we can like, what was the working? Did we have a working title for this random thing that was randomly doing?
No, you've given me as little information as possible.
Let's call it. What was it? Benji and the Tobes. Or is that
Yeah.
the Flea and the Tobes? Well, Benji and the Tobes.
Yeah.
There we go. That's our working title. And after 5 episodes, we'll keep calling it a working title, and we'll say like, "How is it still working title when we're in fifth episode?" Okay, so the Tobes is a tattoo artist, and he does that for a living. He's a masochist, really. Masochist or sadist?
Um, I mean, when I'm at work, definitely a sadist, and then in my hobbies, more of a masochist, really.
Well, I always get confused between the two. It's like a sadist is the one that likes to do harm, and the masochist likes to receive harm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
tattooing on one side, and then in my free time, I'm boxing.
Yes. So this podcast between us, Benji and the Tobes, is just literally bringing the gay world and the boxing world all together, talking about something that's got nothing to do with any of those sides. Actually, well, we are talking about more gay stuff today. Just yeah. Da, 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 da. All right, so first gay stuff for today. Heartstoppers. Have you seen it?
Yes, I watched all of it in a very short space of time.
I I
What
think
did you think?
that's the way to go because Heartstoppers is like one of those shows that um I don't know. It's with every single gay media that we watch, we are subjected to be conditioned to watching. We're expecting some sort of bad thing to happen throughout the show, like um, I'm kissing some
Mm,
guy, and oh look, my mother's talking. Oh no, they're gay. Um, like something like that. And if you compare it with Love Simon, they did that, but with like some random school kids saw these two kids message each other. But with Heartstoppers, there's none of that.
yeah, it was a very, very different take. A lot softer than you're used to seeing on anything. Because we come from the days where, you know, any show about gay queer content had to involve some kind of tragedy or drama,
I
and I
mean,
feel like it's just a breath of fresh air with this,
like
with
the
Heartstoppers.
most famous, without going into like other films like Rocky Horror Picture Show and stuff like that, uh, I which I don't want to even go into. We're looking at stuff like Brokeback Mountain. It ended with such a bad tragedy, which this doesn't make me
Mm,
want to watch it again. And then like what's the other films that we have to compare to? Prayers of Bobby. Absolutely depressing film halfway through the show. So movie. So and even with like films like was it Queer as Folk, which is heavily gay in your face. There's like a whole bunch of tragedy throughout the whole thing. Where Heartstoppers, it's this lovely, dovely, and it's age appropriate too.
mm,
And
yeah,
that's the main thing is age appropriate because when you look at other things, everything with all high school sort of TV shows, it's very hyper sexualized. Where in this gay TV series, it's none of that.
Yeah, that's true. There was, I mean, you see moments of intimacy, of, physical touching, kissing, that
Mm,
kind of stuff, but it's all very PG. It's all very safe and, yeah, like you said, age appropriate.
yeah, like if you even if like you compare it to like Riverdale, who like Riverdale might have some queer content in there, but it's not the main focus. Riverdale is hyper sexualized throughout the whole series, and they're supposed to be like same age sort of thing, and yeah, in your face, boobs, breasts, they're making out. Oh, look, we're running an undercover bar that's under the ground and stuff like that. And I know that Riverdale's probably a bad example because that I think the whole point of that is a little bit supernatural. Well, not supernatural, but outrageous sort of storylines.
Mm.
But Heartstoppers is like it's you know you can show your 12-year-old and not be worried about it whatsoever. You can show your 8-year-old and not be worried about it whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
What did
but
you how did you find seeing actors that were playing their age?
well, it's funny because like you always see 20-year-olds playing 16-year-olds in media. So when you actually see 16-year-olds playing 16-year-olds, it's just like, oh, look how that's such a baby.
Yeah. They
Because
looked young, right?
they look super young. It's like, is that the point? But no, they're actually playing their age. And like, oh, I think also a little bit of like a side note is that one of the straight boy that turns out to be gay that plays rugby, spoiler alert, is the actor from Elton John's Rocket Man, is like the one of the children actor of Elton John.
That's right.
Yeah,
It
and
was
that
his first official gay role, but second unofficial, right?
yes, and yeah, and he hasn't come out yet, but I believe from what I've been resourcing, he's pretty much on the hetero side of the spectrum, and we say spectrum because you never know how people can be later on in life. And in fact, like actually, we'll talk about that later about the whole spectrum thing with Love Victor. But one thing I wanted to point out is the Heartstoppers depression is that I've been seeing this a lot through trends and TikTok and Facebook that people would watch Heartstoppers and like they feel happy and joy and bubbly about it, but like an hour later they get that depression about it. Do you know much about that?
Mm, I have heard about that. I was lucky enough not to experience it. I I ended the season feeling quite happy and honestly very relieved that nothing seriously tragic
Yeah.
happened.
And I think that's mainly because we're both over the age of 12. I mean, we're both over the age of 29. But the thing with the Heartstoppers depression is kind of like with boxing in a way. Like with boxing, boxers get these depressive moments after they've had a fight, either if they win, draw, or lose, because they build themselves up
Mm,
to have these fights, and then afterwards they've released all that energy, and then they get some depressive moment afterwards because they've had that so much build up to this moment, and then where do they go from here as a sudden drop? It's kind of like with Heartstoppers in a way, but it's kind of like happy, joy, and then the sudden realization there's no more episodes, and it's sad, and like you build up so much energy of happiness, and then you hit a brick wall, and then sadness. But luckily, they're going to be doing 2 more seasons, no matter what. So yeah.
well, that's great. I'm looking forward to that, and maybe we'll get a bit of the depression at the end of the next season,
Oh
at
yes,
least the
yes.
last one.
Well, yeah,
I
and like we never know that we might get more seasons after season 3. So yeah.
hmm, I wonder how much of that depression might come from the fact that a lot of people, especially our age and older, were waiting for the horrible thing to happen, and you're on the edge of your seat, like, when is the penny gonna drop? And it never did, and and then it's over, and you're like, it's
So I
like
feel
a relief,
sad.
but also like
I feel sad about myself because I had depression moments and they're not having depression. And like it's another thing. Like I keep on getting told about, which is a good actual real it's almost accurate of like representation in high school, because like there are bullies that and they do have fight scenes, and there's a consistent bully throughout the whole show. So it's a little bit more accurate in high school as well.
yeah, it definitely brought me back there.
Yeah, but the what I mean is like Skylar was telling me like he has cousins, younger cousins, that was expecting high school to be great because they watched the show, which I don't think we get in New Zealand, called Degrassi, and they are expecting high school to be exactly like that because they've watched Degrassi and how high school should be like this, and then they come to high school and it's like high school is shit.
Yeah.
It's like no shit, yes. But
Yeah.
but the whole Heartstopper suppression, I've been noticing it's everyone under the age. Well, I say this, but like you never truly know, but the people who are talking about it are TikTokers and Facebook people under the age of 21, I'd say.
Mm, younger generations.
Younger generations, younger gays,
Right.
younger queers. There's a story that I was told, because Heartstoppers is a graphic novel, and when I say graphic, it's not graphic because they're not ripping off each other's shirts or cutting each other off. It's just like graphic, like in what it's. There's occasional pictures of their faces, of like little, not comics, like less than comics, but more than just a normal writing book. That's what I mean by graphic novel.
So
Anyway,
like a picture book
yeah,
for big kids.
well, I guess because it's like I don't think it's in every. I haven't seen the books. I
Yeah,
haven't. I
right.
just know that people are calling it a graphic novel, but like I haven't seen the book. So, but like there's this
Mm.
bookstore owner who said that. I saw this on TikTok, by the way. So, not my material. Copyright symbol, blah blah blah, trademark, all that jazz. There was a story that these kids went into the bookstore and saw this Heartstoppers book series, and one of the kids said, "Hey, is that gay one?" The other kid said, "Yes," and the main kid said, "Oh no, I'm not going to touch that." And the store owner felt offended because they were expecting like some sort of homophobic treatment that is going to come out about these books. But then the other kid corrected him, say, "Oh no one dies in this." And then then that bookstore owner felt relieved because they thought that there was going to be like this homophobic treatment, but in
Mm.
actual fact, this kid doesn't want to read gay content where something bad happens. So it's obviously felt throughout the multiple generations that they're also expecting it from younger generations in high school as well.
Mm. Yeah, well, I mean, they will have been exposed, especially young queers now with access to the internet. They're still going to be exposed to a lot of the same stuff that we were, you know, because
Yes,
the
yeah,
the amount of content was the further back you go, especially as more and more limited. There's
yeah.
not a lot of options.
No. Um, I remember back then, like I say back then, I say 2011. I was looking for like gay content. There was still not that much there, but there was still accessible. What was it? There was Get Real. I'm saying all these movies that are like indie movies that are not very well known. So there's Get Real, Edge of 17, um, Where's the World Mine? No. Was that no? There was another. It was like a gay movie that was kind of similar to like Midsummer Night's Dream coming to life, sort of thing. Milk, Harvey Milk, that was very popular. And it's
Yeah.
struggling to go beyond that point, like those four. Obviously, Brokeback Mountain and Rocky Horror Picture Show. But after that, I'm struggling to think more beyond that from 2011.
Yeah. There's not a lot.
Yeah. Um,
I just wanted to make a point that, well, so that any listeners can understand that, um, this is no longer the case, but back in the day, it was actually written into law that in a lot of countries, I don't know if it was New Zealand, it was definitely in the US, where if you were producing media with gay characters, that the gay characters had to involve some kind of tragedy, some kind of death or loss, or it was actually written into law, which is why it's been
Yes,
so prevalent.
so prevalent. It's discussed. So you say that in the most ironic way, of course. But like, of course, number 7 was Press of Bobby. I was just thinking about that before, which makes everyone cry. But yeah, it's like exactly. It's like obviously it was written into law of New Zealand. I don't think we even had LGBT films made here in New Zealand until I don't know when was the last time. I guess Girl, the short film Girl made by Mika, it counts as one, but I don't know before that moment. And that was just recent, 2020. But yeah, I was going to talk about next comparing Heartstoppers with Love Simon and Love Victor. And this is quite an easy comparison because have you seen Love Simon or Love Victor?
No, I haven't actually seen either of those. I'm very interested to hear what you say though.
So Love Simon is the movie where Love Victor is the sequel spin-off TV series to Love Simon. So Love Simon is the gay white kid who has a very accepting family. That turns out when he did eventually come out as gay, that they accepted him, even though the father, he didn't struggle with the fact that he was gay. It was more of the fact that he missed out on those moments of finding out that he could have known that he was gay sooner. And then like there was other things. It was just the movie overall seemed like it's a typical white cisgendered gay people. There was not a lot of people of color in the film, and it was too perfect. And it was great because it was when it came out, it was still a great film and still good representation of the LGBT media, but it was still too perfect in ways of how family reacted, how friends reacted in the end. And we still got like that whole bad, like the bad negative thing that happened where some random person saw him messaging some other dude, and it was an anonymous love relationship between these two people, and that guy eventually outed Simon, and that was the tragedy of the film. So and yeah, overall it just ended up being too perfect. So Love Victor is the TV series, which is actually coming out with their 3rd and final season next week. I believe it's next week. I'm so excited. Is more realistic because it shows a Puerto Rican family that's religious, highly religious, and you see them go through it and see them how they deal with the sexuality at the end of season 2. So it was actually a better representation of.
Yeah.
And also not just that, but people of color. There's more representation everywhere. I guess they're still lacking on trans representation in the TV series, but even then, it was still a step up from Love Simon.
Yeah.
And then if you compare that to Heartstoppers, it's Heartstoppers, I think, ticks every single box in the LGBT spectrum.
Right. Yeah. They really went for diversity.
Yeah.
Big time representation. Not just diversity, but actually representing what a community looks like.
Yeah, exactly. And earlier I was going to say the whole with that actor who played Elton John in the Rocket Man movie. It's what was it? What I was going to say. We believe in real life he's probably more on the spectrum, in the hetero spectrum side, on the right side. On the hetero spectrum side, and we say spectrum because obviously spectrum and sexuality can be anywhere in between. But if you look at Love Victor, the actor who came the lead actor in Love Victor, who is his name is Victor. I don't know the actor's name, but he said that he doesn't want to come out now because he doesn't want to get in trouble or be judged or be put in a box later down the line for being different, in case that the spectrum for himself, he believes that he is attracted or isn't attracted to men later on. So that's what I mean by that. So he even though he was straight, he got the whole sexuality spectrum thing from the beginning. So yeah.
That's interesting. A very, very careful approach.
Well, I mean, for the years, like for a long time, you look at actors and actors and musicians, there's been a long time that they stay in the closet and then they find out the hard way of what happens if you stay in a closet and you get found out. Like George Michael, he eventually got found out that he is gay, and then his career suffered. Same with Ricky Martin, Clay Dakin, and a whole bunch of things. But then you look at people like Adam Lambert, who came out straight away as like, oh yeah, I'm gay. And his career actually shoot off because he admitted it straight from the beginning, saying, oh yeah, I'm gay, by the way. I'm making out with some random guy, the keyboardist at the American Music Awards, and like his career soared off from that point. So
yeah,
I guess that's the same thing with like Victor. So
yeah.
I just realized
it'd be a good way to avoid. Oh, what's that?
Oh no, go on.
I was thinking it'd be a good way to avoid typecasting as much as you could at an early age as well, which would be quite important for actors. You know, you don't really want to get put into a little corner, into a little box when you're just starting out.
Yes. And like, I guess a lot of things these days, what people are calling for, especially in the LGBT community, is that they want proper representation of people who are playing them. So like, I remember watching this documentary on Netflix about how, trans people and specifically in trans media. And the main thing is that they're looking for trans people to play as trans characters, but not as like per se as the trans person that got murdered on CSI, or the trans bad person, or the trans villain and like Ace Ventura. And you know, they want proper, and they don't want cis people playing as trans people, and they want actually gay people playing as gay people, trans people playing as trans people, and etc. So that's what I guess Heartstoppers is also good for, is that the trans character is actually trans in real life. And yeah.
Yeah. And you get you get someone who can bring so much more to the role when you do that.
Yeah. All right. So
appreciate.
Yeah. So we've kind of like after realization that what some people might not know, we're just going behind the scenes here, is that we're actually using Zoom to actually record this podcast. And like, we can't be bothered, paying for, we don't want to pay for the free, like the extra, unlimited time. So instead, this is going to be our part one. So
you can cut it all together, Benji.
No, I like this idea. I like having a part one and part two. I mean, like, I guess it's like, this is part one of the first episode of Benji and the Tobes. So there we go. I'm just going to end this, and we'll be back for part two soon. And in that meantime, you guys should just listen to a random song. I mean, I was listening to this random song just before. I can't play too much of it because there's copyright laws. That song that's on TikTok, the money don't jiggle jiggle. Money don't. Okay, I can't play it. I can't go on from that because then copyright would be like, nope. All right. So yeah, we shall stop now, and we'll be back for part two. Have a coffee, have a drink, and come back for the next part. So yeah. Welcome back to Benji and the Tobes, which is still a working title. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get better at this title thing or not. What do you think?
No, I think that title's going to be working for a while.
It's going to be working for a while. I think eventually we're going to come up with a better title, and then then that's going to be the working title until we get back to Benji and the Tobes. This is part two, by the way, and we've gone past Heartstoppers, which we spent about half an hour talking about. I don't know how long we actually spent on it. But I think the next thing we're going to talk about how New Zealand AIDS Foundation has completely rebranded themselves. Do you know much about this?
No, I know very little other than it happened.
So, New Zealand, let's start that again. New Zealand AIDS Foundation, as you know, or as you might know, started in the 1980s ish, in the uprise of the pandemic. And I guess that their main role was always about helping, mostly, I say this for a reason, gay men, cisgendered gay men, but anyone that identifies as a man, they help raise money for support, as well as giving them counseling treatment, and also raise money for other projects for the community, like Big Gay Out. They run Big Gay Out and other things, research, etc. But they've changed their name to the Burnett Foundation Aotearoa, because they are now wanting, because recently they recently released these figures called the HIV numbers, how things are going, and this was in May 12th, and this year was the lowest spread in HIV acquired in New Zealand since 1990. And I believe there has been a death for AIDS in such a long time. I think there was only 43 people that was diagnosed or acquired through sexual transmission in New Zealand, which is the lowest since 1990, and it was down by 51% since last year. So that's like a huge,
wow, it's quite a drop.
Yeah. And I guess in a way, like the New Zealand AIDS Foundation, their main goal is to get themselves out of the job by getting rid of AIDS, HIV, AIDS, that they're, and their main goal is to stop transmission of HIV by 2025 completely in New Zealand. But they're kind of like getting closer to that goal. So the next best thing they can do is focus on other sexually transmitted illnesses and diseases. So that's what the aim is instead of calling themselves New Zealand AIDS Foundation, they've made their name more broad, Burnett Foundation Aotearoa. So Burnett, I think his name was Bruce Burnett, which is what the foundation is named after, who was a leading person in AIDS and HIV awareness back in the 80s. So they named the clinic after them, and I guess the foundation after it as well. And which you should go on Google, search up Burnett. I think his name is Bruce Burnett, and you might find a bunch of stuff about him. So yeah. What do you think?
Right. That sounds really cool. I'm curious, what was it that, do we know why there was a sudden decline in HIV and AIDS transmission?
Well, of course it's their campaigning, but I guess because they've got their campaign of ending HIV, but I personally think it's the production of the brand new pill that's been going on around since the last 5 years of PrEP, which is it's kind of like, I like to call it like the birth control for gay men. It stops them from transmitting HIV. If you don't actually have HIV, it stops people from getting HIV with this pill. So I like to call it the birth control for gay men. I think it's the easiest way to think about it. It's a good analogy, really.
Yeah, that's amazing. Does it work the other way around too, or is it just for people who don't have it?
So for people who are HIV positive, like once you're actually got HIV, the main aim is to get your viral load low, and once you are undetectable, and when we say undetectable, it means that they can't see it in the blood. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're cured from HIV. It's just that they can't find it in their blood. But if they're undetectable by their viral load, it means that they're less likely to give it to other people as well. So being undetectable and being on, and the other person being on PrEP helps no longer spread the HIV, no longer spreading HIV to other people. And of course, there's the whole campaign of always wear your condoms, and on top of that, there's test regular, like every 3 months, which I've always had the belief that every gay man, no matter what, if you're sexually active, you should be getting tested every 3 months, even if you're monogamous, or just got one partner, or if you're a complete slut and as a a hooker, gigolo, or something, get every 3 months, because then at least by 3 months you can actually have a track record. And on top of that, 3 months is the window period for when HIV can be shown up on tests anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So just get in there early.
Yeah,
Find it
exactly.
as soon as you can.
And
Makes sense.
I think there is some research that suggests that if you have sex with someone who is HIV positive and the condom breaks, and you start medication that day, kind of like the morning after pill with PrEP, it helps stops the virus from spreading throughout the body. So there is a possibility that you could not get HIV if you went on the pill straight away. So yeah.
Wow. That's quite major.
That is quite rare. So I think what was the campaign? I just do a Google search. Where is the research in this? Was it ending HIV? Because that's the campaign that we're using. Because they had like a whole thing about. Oh no, did they take down? No, that's my computer slow. No, maybe they did take it down. How dare they? Ending HIV. Let's try this again. No. It's thinking. Nothing. It could be just be my. Oh no, there we go. I went to a different link. So what was the old U equals U thing? I try and look for it. No, I can't find it. Well, the organizations now focus on not just HIV, but also the full STDs, STIs for gay men, and it's a good focus. That's a good. Oh, here we go. Things to look out. So condoms and lube. Lube is very important, obviously. PrEP to help you from stopping from HIV. U equals U, which is you being undetectable. PEP. I always forget what that means. Oh, emergency HIV prevention, which is what we spoke about. By the way, this show is not sponsored by Burnett's Foundation. Getting STI testing early and STI checks. We should. We should. Future goals. So there we go. That's our two things. Okay, we can move on to any final comments about that?
I was actually curious because you said the name comes from Bruce Burnett.
Yeah. Okay. We can.
It is?
Yes. Let's have is it Bruce Burnett? Burnett.
I was curious if he's still alive.
No, he's not. He died in 1985, I believe, possibly from HIV.
Right.
Yeah, he died from AIDS as well, but he's well known for raising awareness from HIV, AIDS, and he was not just that, but also with the hotline, education, a whole bunch of stuff. So he's got an architecture degree, but he did not. Oh no, he didn't complete the architecture degree. He just was doing architecture. But yeah, so that was his thing. So then he did such a good job, they named the whole thing after him. So yeah, Google is your best friend. So yeah. But yeah, I have to say the reason why I had to say it's for gay men is because woman positive is the women's version of that, and they I guess there's obviously positive woman, I think it's actually called. I think I don't know why, but they've kind of like got their own organization. They've kind of segregated themselves from each other, and I guess it's the main focus is gay men in the organization because gay men is the main people who get HIV. I don't know. It's politics in the end. I don't get involved with politics.
Do you know if there's an organization that's for everyone in general that hasn't specified, or if there's an organization for straight men? Because I imagine it will be pretty hard for straight men to
and
find somewhere to go.
In fairness, this is supposed to be for everyone, but their focus was for gay men. I mean, like, of course, straight men can go them, and they do have some marketing for straight men, but it's mostly gay men. And of course, there's another organization called Body Positive, which does the same thing, but more for people who already are HIV positive. So yeah.
Cool.
All right. So next thing we're going to talk about is our recent experiences of watching Fast and the Furious.
Yes.
Yes. Now,
I'm so curious what you think about this.
I know that you've told me a story how you were laughing in the theater and like you're getting harassed because you found it funny, and people were like so serious about this.
That's right. Yeah.
God, tell us that story.
Yeah. So I went to see, I think it was Fast and the Furious 7, and I was, from the beginning, I was laughing so much and so loud. I had completely given up on taking it seriously at any point. I was having a really good time because there were some absolutely incredible, impossible scenes. A lot of visual humor.
Is
And
it
at
like
some point in the film,
is it like how I've seen some trailers for some sort of stuff, but it's kind of like Fast and Furious meets Transformers almost, or
yeah, it was. I don't even know how I wouldn't actually know how to describe so much of that film without completely spoiling it. Um, it was ridiculous. I haven't seen all of the Fast and Furious films, but that was the most ridiculous one I've ever seen. And so, I was laughing a lot, and at some point in the film, I couldn't see him very well, but I think he was probably the largest man I've ever seen in my life. Starts walking over towards me, and I hear this very deep voice, start threatening me, basically telling me that he was going to personally throw me out of the theater if I didn't shut up right then and there. It was a little bit intimidating, to be honest.
masculine men very into their Fast and Furious cars. That what looked like the battling Transformers or Mission Impossible sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
he was taking it very seriously.
Very, very seriously, cars and stuff. Brum brum. But like we watched Fast and Furious, I think, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago now? And
yeah, about 2 weeks ago.
Like 2 weeks ago. This is the first time I actually watched the first two films ever. And I have to say, they weren't that good. I was expecting more. Right? Like, first of all, the there was a filter from the 1980s, even though it's a 1990s film, the first film, and like the second film is a little bit better, but not by a lot. Overall, I found it just. I love action films, so this was pretty boring. I think I'm gonna get a bit of hate. We're gonna get a bit of hate for saying that.
Yeah, probably. What did you think of the driving scenes themselves?
I mean, I'm sure it's possible, but like in ways of like stunt drivers, it was awfully slow. Yeah, because like they're supposed to be like going very, very fast around corners and stuff, but it looks very slow as they go around those corners. And
right.
I'm sure that I know what they're trying to aim for, but they could do it better. But I guess 1990s and early 2000s, that says it for you. I do have a vivid memory of trying to watch Too Fast with Too Furious like years and years and years ago. And I think I got to that Ferrari bit in that car lot, and I just turned it off after that point, thinking like, oh, I just can't do this right now. It's too boring. And that was me as a kid. So me as an adult, I can see myself. I still agree to that kid. I still want to continue watching the series because I'm that type of person that when I start watching a series, I need to finish it. And so
Yeah.
next film, we might as well just watch it in order. Next film being Tokyo Drift. I hope it's a lot better than the first two films.
I mean, maybe set your expectations low,
and
but
yeah, set my
I think you'll
expectations
like it.
low.
Yeah,
Like,
I think you'll enjoy it.
right, have you seen that one or?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I watched it last year, I think.
Oh yeah, for the first time ever. For the first time
Yes.
ever, or yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's a lot better, and then I guess from Fast and Furious 7 and beyond, it becomes very like super spaceship cars that like air jets they're driving in the air and like completely different, where it's unrealistic with Vin Diesel versus The Rock, and it's just massively outrageous. Like this is like you can't get even bigger than that for straight man world, masculine straight man world.
No, but that's the franchise. It starts from at the bottom, and you've seen the bottom now. It starts there and it just escalates. And it keeps escalating.
Right, well,
That's what it does.
we haven't seen like I heard that the spin-offs were good, but I'm just, the jury's still out on this. Do you have any further comments on the Fast and the Furious?
I mean, I agree with you that especially that first one is a little bit boring,
Yes.
but there's still something about watching cars go fast, you know?
It wasn't
Really
even
cool
fast
cars.
though. It was just like fake fast, just slowly around
Yeah,
corner.
pretending that it's fast.
You can tell that Need for Speed games were based off these films though.
Oh yeah, big
But
time.
the games were better than the films. So all right, so last couple of things that we'll talk about. We're going to talk about our bundles hobby, because it's practically our hobby at the moment,
Oh
is
yeah,
eating all these bundles.
yeah.
So Toby and I have this mission, the Tobes and I, Benji and the Tobes, we've got this mission where we want to go around town, not around town, going around town. We want to go around and trying all these different bundle deals from McDonald's, Burger King, Carl's Jr., KFC, and like and onwards and onwards. And we want to try and kind of give them some sort of ratings, and we're rating them by ways of price, how much food we get, and the taste. We've already kind of done this, but I guess next time when I'm actually out of isolation, we can actually start properly from doing it. But we've kind of already done this with what we've done. All those things that we just mentioned: Carl's Jr., Burger King, Wendy's, and McDonald's. This is like completely opposite.
Sorry, we've done a few bundles.
Yeah, this is completely opposite what the Heart Foundation is offering. I'm pretty sure that we're going to get like some sort of diabetes from doing all this. So
Yeah. If you suffer from heart problems, this is where you stop listening.
Yes, yes. Or if you're like in some sort of fast food anonymous, this is where you stop listening.
Yeah.
If you're anorexic, this is where you start listening. So without giving any ratings, because we'll actually start doing this on a regular basis every time we do these shows. What would you say is number one at the moment before we start doing the ratings?
Ooh. I'd probably go with Carl's Jr., to be honest.
Yeah, because
Mm.
I agree, because like I actually am the same, because Carl's Jr. gave us 7 burgers out of one bundle. I think actually it's 6 burgers, and they offered us, oh, do you want to get an extra burger for $1 or something like that? And we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get extra burger for $1.
Yeah.
So we got 7 burgers out of that. I think that was number one. It wasn't actually too bad, the food either.
No, I mean the burgers weren't that great, but the chips were really nice, and that just that had such a big impact on me, to be honest.
And also the Sundays, free Sundays, 4 free
Yeah.
Sundays. And they've got lettuce wraps for gluten-free people.
Yep. Yeah, that was a big one.
that was a big one. So Carl's Jr. is in the lead currently. We should probably do like some sort of graph to put on social media or something like that. Carl's Jr. #1. That's the benchmark right there, and we can start ranking them and like retry Carl's Jr. and see where we'll put them.
Yeah.
But
Well, I wanna include that new KFC bundle
oh yes,
as our next one.
God, I see obesity in my future.
Look, it's not every day. You'll be all right.
Okay. Is there any other topics that we want to bring up? Anything at all? I guess we should probably cater to the boxing fans. How we had we had 3 New Zealanders fight last weekend on the undisputed lightweight title fight, and Junior Fa had a shocking knockout loss to Lucas Brown, which everyone still.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was massive. It was I think it was like 2 minutes in the first round, and that was a surprise. It was a surprise to me. And I don't know why I'm surprised, because Lucas Brown can hit. I mean, he's a former world champion himself, so that I think that shocked the world. People are calling it the biggest upset. So I hope that Junior Fa.
I'm shocked right now.
You haven't even seen the fight, so
no.
That's your homework. Is to watch that fight.
Yeah.
What's the next fight that's coming up? I have to actually go on Google. Oh, it's the Australian event on June 15th, I think it is. I'm literally using my phone to search up what's the upcoming schedule for boxing. We should have some elevated music while I'm looking this up, because I like the live stuff. Oh yeah, it's Friday, June 15th, I believe it is. Yes, it is June 15th in Australia, so that's probably going to be on Sky Sports TV, and that's going to have Andre Mikhailovich on the undercard versus some random person from, I don't know. What is that? Venezuela. He's from Venezuela. Also on the card we've got, what's his name? Francis. Where is it? Francis Whiteye versus Jack Gibb. So that's a Dean Lonergan show, and Dean Lonergan's bringing back Fight for Life later in the year, so that's going to be excellent.
Oh, awesome!
For those who know, Fight for Life, that's used to be a Duco event thing that happened generally around November, October, December, but he's doing it in July this time. And Dean Lonergan owns the rights to Fight for Life, but he's not doing it with Duco. He's doing it by himself. So it's going to be quite entertaining and exciting. And let's see. Kivamir Lamu, Liam Meeson, and Carlos Spencer, like 3 rugby guys, are going to be on that card. So, and as well as Andre Mikhailovich and Jerome Pampalone. So that's going to be an exciting show on July 21st and Event Finder Stadium in North Shore.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night.
There you go. We've kind of stroked the ego of the boxing world. So there you go. We've met the bare minimum. So yeah. All right. I think that's it. I think that's it for part 2. I think we did well. I think we did better than part 1.
Yeah.
I think part 1
was too bad.
Yeah, part 1 was purely Heartstoppers and gay stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm probably gonna split these 2 parts apart. So we'll release one on Friday and one on Sunday. So today's Friday. So we'll release one tonight and one on Sunday. Just get people excited about everything. So yeah, this is Benji and the Tobes. Do you have a closing off saying you want to say?
A closing off saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
Put on the spot.
Oh, there you go. That's your closing off saying there. Put on the spot. The Tobes says put on the spot. So we'll see you here next week where we talk about some sort of something that's put on the spot. You're here with Benji the Flea, Benji and the Tobes. That's it.